Before I start with this episode, I just want to give a quick shout out to Podmetrics. Yup, Podmetrics is the platform I use to get all the data I need for the show. From who listens to me, all the way to where they come from, Podmetrics takes care of all of that so I can make better content for you. You can even integrate Podmetrics with Facebook and YouTube so you can get more data from your live streams. So if you're a podcaster or want to start your own podcast, go visit podmetrics.co and sign up for free. Use my code JakeOfAllTradesWithDelRo. With that out of the way, cue the intro music. What is going on, everybody? Kamusta kayo lahat mula sa Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, or wherever the heck you are on the planet? This is your one and only Jake of All Trades, the place to be for any niche, every genre, and all generations. I am your master of ceremony, D to the E to the LRO, aka JDR, aka the extraordinary introvert. So guys, we are back with another episode, and apparently the room is pretty full right now. So yeah, dami kong guests ngayon So it's all good. Sobrang masaya or magiging masaya tong episode na to. And before we start, I just want to thank these guys. I did hop into their show a couple of months back. If anything, mga November of last year, I made my unofficial podcasting debut. And honestly, without these guys, walang JOAT ngayon, I wouldn't be making a podcast right now. So once again, thank you to these guys over here. And second of all, I'm sure sawang-sawa na kayo sa mga guests ko na palaging taga-Ateneo or taga-UST. But these guys over here, taga-Katipunan pa rin sila, pero the other side. So mga taga-UP silang lahat. If anything, one of our guests right here, taga-Lasal Zabel. So basically, kompleto na yung Big Four ko. I was able to get each guest from one of the Big Four schools. And yeah, that's pretty much my introduction there. And they will tell you guys more about themselves later on. So with all that out of the way, let's give it up for Phim Moran, attorney, yes, recently attorney Enzo Gondola, Pielo Mello, Pielo Ordanyes, and Toby Fizzle for Shizzle Fizzle, whatever. Toby Yanga of Maroon Talk.
Yeah, what's up?
What is up?
Finally,
Yes, sir.
JOAT. Finally rated JOAT. Yep, thanks for having us, Jake.
Yeah, it's the other way around. Usually sila yung nag-host and ako yung nag-guest. Pero this time around, we are going to do a little role reversal. Ako yung host and sila naman yung mga guests. But don't worry, guys. It's still the same old gold content. We're just going to give you nothing but straight fire. And I'm so excited to get this show going. So before we start, as usual, paki-introduce naman yung mga sarili ninyo. Walang particular order, I guess anyone can start. Whoever's di nahihiya or whatever.
I'm Phim Moran, batch 2010 from UP Luzon. Enzo Regonda, 2010 UP Diliman. What's up? Yeah.
Pielo Ordanyes, batch 2011, UP Diliman.
Toby ang batch 2010, UPLB 2011, UP Manila. What's up?
Yep. Okay na ba yan, Jake?
Yo. Sobrang okay na yun.
I think we're on the wrong show.
And just in case y'all forgot, I am the one and only JDR, batch 2019 from the one and only the Ateneo de Manila University. So kahit may home court tayo with this podcast, I am outnumbered right now kasi mas marami taga-UP ngayon sa episode na to. Pero yeah, it's all fun and games. It's gonna be a good show for sure.
Yep.
So, ang dami, no? So many stuff to unpack. But as we all know, 2020 has not been that year. As we all know, we have this pandemic going on. And it has affected so many industries, so many lives. Schooling obviously has taken a toll. Ang dami ng online classes ngayon. Film has had to be delayed. Making movies has had to be delayed. Music has had to take a step back. And sports has not been spared either. So I've been watching some NFL games lately and sobrang daming arenas na walang tao. Of course, we all know about the NBA. They had to make a whole bubble campus just to protect the players from the virus. You've seen some baseball games na halos walang tao din yung mga baseball fields. And back home in our own shores, we don't know when the heck the UAAP, the PBA, and any of these sports leagues are gonna start. So, as we can see, sobrang new normal tong sports world na ito. But in my honest opinion, I think the new normal, quote-unquote, that's taking place right now, it didn't really start for me nung pandemic. But if anything, it really took place on January 26, 2020. So, as we all know, the sports world is still grieving, is still very devastated. And, me personally, he's still on my mind. We have to start this episode by giving the late, great Kobe Bryant his due respects. So, sisimulan ko to sa pagbigay pugay sa isang legend, So, I guess initial thoughts. What are your thoughts about sports this year? Sobrang kakaiba with the seasons and of course the very untimely death of really our generation's GOAT, if you think about it. So anyone can really start this conversation. Ano yung mga initial thoughts ninyo about the current sports season that we are post Kobe tragedy and now that we are in the new normal?
Well, yeah, sports has definitely changed. Yeah. So, a lot of new regulations, a lot of ang daming bago, ang daming experimental, di ba? So, we have to see pa what's in store for the future. But, fortunately, ngayon, di ba, parang tuloy pa rin eh. Di ba? Hindi naman talaga siya nag-stop. Nagbago lang yung landscape niya. So, yeah, that's nice. That's dun sa pandemic, di ba? Pero other than that, from the pandemic, sobrang laki din nung impact nung Black Lives Matter to sports. Kasi halos sobrang daming brands, sobrang daming athletes support yung Black Lives Matter campaign yan. So yun, and I sobrang supported ko yun. I really support that kasi diba parang isang community naman tayo, isang malaking sports community tayo, diba? Why not support each other? Diba? Everything is political eh. Like, even sports, tapos na dami nagagalit na dapat hindi pinapasok politics ng sport. Yeah, yes, diba? Ang daming nagsasabi nun. Pero no, sports has a lot to do with with culture of the people, diba? So parang ang daming nanonood ng sports, so it's one of the best avenues para ipakita yung support towards the Black Lives Matter. So yun.
Ako siguro parang nag-start kasi siya sa akin nung yun nga nung namatay si Kobe. Kasi parang after mamatay ni Kobe, parang sunod-sunod na lahat eh. Kung nagkaroon ng pandemic, tapos George Floyd, tapos yung sa Middle East, ganyan. So parang doon makikita yung parang siguro yung parang fraternity quote unquote ng sports, kasi parang lahat nag-unite eh. Parang nung namatay si Kobe, halos lahat ng sport sa kanya nagbigay ng tribute, parang ino-offer every home run, every touchdown, every goal, every game, gano'n ino-offer sa kanya. Tapos nung nung nag-peak naman yung sa Black Lives Matter, parang lahat din ng sport nagkaroon din ng ganong agenda eh. Parang nag-protest sila, lumuhod sila ng national anthem nila, tapos nag-boycott sila ng ibang games. So parang makikita mo na hindi siya shut up and dribble, parang ganun.
Yes.
Pag athlete ka kasi, lalo na pag professional athlete ka, nandun yung avenue sa'yo eh, yung sport mo eh. Kung ano yung, sabi ni Toby kasi, yung sport kasi political talaga siya eh. So kung ano yung political stand mo, kung ano yung pinaniniwalaan mo, parang yun yung avenue para i-display mo siya para kumbaga i-defend or ipakita sa fans mo or sa manonood ng sport kung ano talaga yung nangyayari sa situation ngayon.
I found it medyo weird kasi speaking of the Black Lives Matter movement that sparked nung kailan ba? Around March, April, di ba? Nung namatay si George Floyd. That was the time when all sports were cancelled. Everything we hear on TV is politics about COVID, about mga racial discrimination in America. Tapos when the conversation was about dapat mong bumalik yung sports, merong two sides, di ba? There's one side saying sports should make a comeback. There's another side saying sports does not need to come back. Pero nakakatawa doon. Minsan pareho sila ng reason. Sinasabi ng isa, sports needs to come back so that we could, parang put a spotlight on the Black Lives Matter movement. So other side naman, sinasabi sports doesn't need to come back because the Black Lives Matter movement needs to be parang more focused on instead of sports. So instead na maglaro tayo, let's protest, let's do something na alam mo yun, related to the movement. So yun yung parang yun nga, doon pumapasok yung pagiging political ng sports kasi look at that. It's the same cause pero magkaiba sila ng gustong approach to champion that cause. So it's weird times, I guess, na yun nga, because we have a situation like that na siguro that's just a small representation of how sports is currently, the sports world is now. It's not, ang daming nagbagong rules, ang daming nagbagong setup, ang daming nagbagong mga home court advantage na wala kasi walang crowd or walang travel, wala sila sa home stadium nila or nandun man sila, they don't enjoy the support of their own fans. So the setup of sports right now is totally different. Na whoever becomes champions for this season, parang 10 years down the line, you're gonna say dapat merong asterisk yan kasi it's a totally different scenario compared to the previous year.
My only take on this one is during the start of the lockdown globally, around March, April-ish, we weren't even sure if we'd have sports back this year. But then again, when I think ang unang nagsimula was baseball, was it? And you had the Premier League, you had football all over the world starting up. Then you had F1, then you had golf. So at least for that point, early this year, you weren't really sure na if they were gonna start, if we were gonna be able to watch anything on TV sports related, diba? But then come May, I think June-ish, April, May, June, May onwards, sports started coming back. So in a way, that was a good thing to us sports fans, just to get our mind off of the whole pandemic itself.
Yeah.
So that's one development that I really appreciated, at least for the other countries. So, but then again, you had no crowds, you have no audience, you have no travel. But then again, it's still there. So in a way, I still appreciate na the other leagues made it work for the fans to still see what they have to see. And kumbaga take their mind off of the serious things that we have so much right now in the world.
Yeah, all very solid, very valid points. Tama nga. I mean, no sports, basically no life, or not really no life, but sobrang magiging dull, sobrang magiging boring yung mga buhay natin, lalo na ngayon sa new normal where we can hardly do anything. There's really little to no form of entertainment now that we can't go out as much. Walang masyadong mga movies and all that. So me personally, whether a casual or a diehard sports fan, like I'm just glad na my semblance of sports, regardless of what that may be, whether it's the NBA or the NFL. They just had their kickoff weekend last Friday to Sunday, and then of course you have the MLB that's still going on. Of course, for me, nakakapanibago pa rin kasi walang fans. I mean, as much as they're not the main character of these sports stories, they still play a major part, and I feel like that's one of the aspects of sports that I miss the most, yung crowd interaction, which is why I want to give the NBA like major props kasi they added this virtual fan experience thingy, and nakatulong talaga yun. Like even though it's quote unquote artificial noise, the fact that they're still finding creative ways to interact in a certain type of way, kahit we'll have to settle muna for virtual or Zoom or whatever they're using, it really still tries to add to the authenticity of the product. So actually, that's one of my next questions. Like, can you give me your thoughts on some of the creative methods some of these sports leagues are doing to try to maintain some semblance of normal, or at least the authenticity of various sporting events, kahit it's very far-fetched from our usual way of watching sports?
One thing is, for football, the Premier League, and I think NFL is doing it as well. But this is from your TV. They put the crowd noise on the broadcast to make you feel that there are still people watching the game.
As a broadcast lang ba yun?
Oh,
Wala siya sa stadium.
Wala siya stadium.
sa Premier League, may option ka na gusto mo on yun or off yung crowd noise. May ganun eh. Pero actually kung ako manonood, gusto ko yung wala. Para malaman ko talaga yung talagang situation nila on the field. Kasi if you're an athlete, you really get your energy from the crowd.
Yeah.
And knowing na walang crowd ngayon, it's a totally different
Atmosphere.
how do you say it?
It's a whole new ball game, basically.
Your personal
Atmosphere,
aura is different kasi nga it's quiet. It's part of your focus diba? You have to be locked in the game, knowing that there's a crowd all over you trying to distract you and all. So that factor is out right now. So that's something interesting I want to see. That's why when you see people scoring goals now, they don't really celebrate much. Kasi the energy is not there from the crowd.
Yeah.
And wala, so they just like smile and not really celebrate much. Unlike what they do before, like take off their clothes and like run everywhere. So it's totally different now. That's one for me. That's what I see.
Yeah.
Kayo.
Oh, I really like what baseball did with the cardboard cutout. Kasi if you guys don't know, I don't know if lahat ng teams but some teams, yung cardboard cutouts na yun, some fans can pay for that. So they could have their own cutout there for a certain amount. Tapos if a
Sila
ball,
yung nasa Sila yung nasa picture?
yeah, oh.
Okay.
So if a ball hits their standee, they get that ball as a souvenir.
Ganun.
Cute.
Oh, hindi ko alam kung sa lahat ginawa yun, pero alam mo yun, parang
Creative.
It's a creative, smart way that the MLB did. That's my favorite so far.
Toby.
Me? Probably actually sa basketball, yeah. Yung virtual fans na na ginawa nila doon. Pero yun nga kasi there are actual people na inside sa bubble na pwede na manood yung family
members.
diba? So ayun, that's parang another step forward na rin, pero syempre it's not applicable to all sports pa. For example, Sa football, what I've seen nga, yun nga, NFL. There were, if I'm not mistaken, there were people na in some games. I believe in the Kansas
Kansas
game.
yeah.
The Kansas game. Yeah.
Yes.
There were people na. Pero in terms of creativity, I honestly have yet to see because other than yung sinabi ni Enzo, that interested me. Parang that's something unique. Yun nga, you have to leagues have yet to find other ways to spice things up, lalo na hindi masyadong interactive yung audience, 'di ba? Sa sport mismo, sa game mismo kasi yeah, definitely it's a big factor yung fans eh. Kasi 'di ba, the fact na merong home court advantage, 'di ba? That says a lot. Pero ngayon parang halos wala na. In terms of fans.
Sa akin siguro yung yun nga yung sa NBA tsaka yung sa baseball. Kasi parang kung makikita mo yung mga Zoom audience or yung mga cardboard na fans, parang kumbaga medyo gaganahan ka rin eh. Kasi at least parang na lang siya. Psych mo na lang siya. Isipin mo na may mga nanonood naman. Home court namin to kahit na nasa isang lugar lang kami, ganun. So para sa akin yun siguro yung dalawa na for me yung medyo naging creative na way nila.
Yeah. Tama nga kayo. Indeed, sobrang trial run tong mga seasons na to, especially with the new normal kicking in. And I really think that no favoritism here, but of all the leagues, I think the NBA really did it right with their whole virtual fan experience and just even the implementation of having the bubble. I think safety-wise and even interaction-wise, like you can really see how engaged the players are with one another. Kahit magkaibang team, like you still get to hang out with their own teammates, with other players from different teams. So at least for me, like the NBA, of all the other major sports leagues, they really did it right here. And I guess for us sports fans, we can only hope for the best because let's be real, we all miss going to the actual venues, diba? Like nothing beats authentic fan interaction, like for better or for worse. And this segues me now to the next part of our topic. So now we're gonna switch shores a little bit. We're gonna go right back here at home, and if we have the NBA, we have the MLB and the NFL continuing with their respective seasons. We can only wonder kung ano yung mangyayari sa mga liga dito, like especially the UAP. I mean, usually by this time, no, around September, nagsisimula na yung UAP season, and I'm sure super excited sana tayong lahat magkipagdalaw either sa Araneta or sa MOA or even sa Inares. I mean, I've been seeing some of your videos how even if malayo yung Inares, you guys take the effort to go. So the fact that we're not gonna have this for quite some time, medyo nakakapanibago, and it's kind of sad too, like as Filipino basketball fans. So I guess can you guys just give me a little bit of what's going on in your mind right now as Pinoy sports fans, not just in basketball but just any sports here. And I guess yun nga, like what are your hopes and what are your wishes as the Philippines? We try to commit, we try to transition then to the new normal style of sports for the meantime.
Yeah, actually the UAP was supposed to start last weekend, right? So the trend right now is all the sports shows, all the sports people since March have been doing the same thing, which we started already in Maroon Talk, is just to reminisce and talk to people from our schools, from the UAP, from whatever sport there is relative to their channel, to their show. And we just talk about the previous the classic moments that we miss, the classic moments that we reminisce. So that's all we can talk about right now, since nothing's happening in the local sports scene, at least. They've been saying that the UAP could start sometime early next year, but that's something I'm not really
very doubtful.
I doubt it.
leaning on. By the looks of it, it's not gonna be anytime soon. I've been saying the season 83 will be happening, but then we just don't know when. Kasi we can't go straight to season 84, diba? I'm sure we can. There's gonna be a season 83, but we just don't know when, what year it's gonna happen. But it's gonna be there. So that's sad. I mean, hopefully stuff comes up soon. But then you get to see the PBN out they're practicing. But then again, I'm not sure how they're gonna do their tournaments soon. So that's for me. Ew.
For sports, here in the Philippines, personally, before we address sports, we have to address the pandemic first, diba? Kasi parang hindi pa natin alam kung paano natin siya
i-contain.
Tapos, i-contain, matatalo, paano ba? So, diba? We have to give the attention to the pandemic first. Pero when the pandemic is done, or at least na-contain na natin, we know how to handle it, and sports makes a comeback. I don't know if soon, pero when it happens, diba? We need to address din yung new regulations ka. Paano yung landscape dito sa Philippines? Kasi yung mga sports na napapanood natin, they're in more privileged countries, diba? Parang may pera sila, may pondo sila. Ganun. Here in the Philippines, pag na-address na natin yung pandemic, do we have resources pa ba to properly regulate yun nga, yung pasok ng tao, yung mga athletes, ganun, diba? Kasi ngayon, athletes, tuloy pa rin ang buhay nila. They're finding private courts to practice in, tuloy-tuloy yung grind, yung workouts nila, private gyms, everything. So, yun nga, tuloy-tuloy pa rin sila, pero hindi pa unfair sa kanila kasi hindi pa natin alam kung kailan babalik, diba? So, we have yet to see kung anong mangyayari talaga.
Yes, so true.
Well, ako actually, agree ako dun kay Toby. Well, as much as I want to watch sporting events na dito sa country, parang ang hirap kasi yung isipin mo rin yung health ng mga athletes eh. So parang isipin mo muna nasa pandemic tayo, ano ba yung priority natin? Parang yung ibang countries kasi kaya sila nakapag-start na ng mga sporting events nila. Alam nila yung priority nila. So, siguro yun lang. Pero, ayun, syempre, nakakamiss din. Tapos, ako, for me, sobrang namimiss ko na rin kasi nagko-compete din ako sa mga commercial leagues. So, medyo nakakainip. Medyo
Star player pala tayo dito.
First team all chamba yan.
Ako, ang thoughts ko dyan sa Pilipinas naman. At the end of the day, ang sports, nasa dulo yan ng priorities natin.
Yeah.
Kasi kahit sabihin natin yung PBA, gumawa sila ng plano, mag-bubble tayo sa Olympic Village sa Clark. Mag-bubble tayo sa Sorsogon. Oops!
Saan yun?
Saan ba yun?
Saan yung Sorsogon?
Yun.
Hello.
kahit gumawa ng planong ganun. Gayahin natin NBA, let's say. PBA lang to, PBA lang. Tapos isolate natin lahat ng teams. Ang kailangan nilang gawin, kung gagayahin nga nila NBA, mag-conduct sila ng testing. a couple of times a week, magiging tasteless. Kasi isipin ng mga tao, why do these athletes get all of these testing resources when the hungry Filipino down there cannot even get tested?
Yung medical workers, di na-test.
Oo, yung mga ganon. So, at the end of the day, sports lang yan. Pero, at the same time, it also makes me think na what if the same scenario, what if the PBA immediately came up with a plan similar to what the NBA did na, alam mo yun, pinresenta agad na sa government na, ito plano namin. I isolated lahat ng players, tapos kami na bahala sa testing. Tapos, basta, ganun. May plano na sila. Tingin ko, posibleng pinag-start na yan. Kasi, the government will see na they have a plan in place na they won't be affected by the pandemic and they won't affect others also by the pandemic since isolated nga sila. So baka pwede natin silang paglaruin na. Tapos, yun nga, like si Pielo ba nagsabi ng kanina na sports is important nga kasi kumbaga it's a form of entertainment nga di ba?
Yeah.
Sport. So, similar to how baseball nung 9/11 parang uplifted the spirits of at least the New Yorkers nung naglaro yung Mets nung time na yun. Baka ganun din dito if we had sports like the PBA or the UAAP. Although malabo yung UAP kasi estudyante ang mga yan. Or at least, PBA, kahit isang liga lang. Baka kahit pa paano may moral booster sa mga tao na, kasi walang good news na lumalabas ngayon. Puro bad news. So parang, at sana kahit maglaro Hinebra mamayang gabi, mamayang hapon, parang the Hinebra fan, which is marami rin sa Pilipinas, meron silang something to look forward to. Tapos matutulog sila na masaya kasi, panalo Hinebra, ganun. Tapos, bago sila sumabak ulit the following day sa trabaho or sa kung ano mong poproblemahin nila, at least, meron silang a few hours of happiness. Di ba? Kung may sports nga lang tayo. Kaso wala eh.
Yeah, sobrang valid, you guys couldn't have said it any better. At the end of the day, sports lang yun. For as much as it's a focal point of all of our lives, even if you're the casual sports fan, even if to my listeners listening right now, kahit hindi kayo masyado mahilig sa sports, I'm sure to a certain degree, you guys are curious of the happenings going on with, say, a UAAP game or a volleyball game. Nakamiss din yun. Like, just hearing the buzz, just hearing the thrill of some of these games. It's definitely something that we have to get used to, or in this case, the lack thereof, that you may have to get used to for a long time. And at the end of the day, like, tama nga si Toby, we still have to address this pandemic. And hopefully, once gumaan na, once bumaba na yung cases, hopefully, we'll see about that. But should bumaba yung cases ulit, then we can start focusing on how to get our sports back or how to go about our ordinary lives in other aspects of our life. But despite the absence of sports, it seems that one thing that has not been absent, or if anything, it's been amplified, is the non-stop and the instant recruitment of a lot of UAAP schools. Like, every time I look at Facebook or Twitter, palaging may headline galing sa spin.ph or Rappler. Oh, this guy is going to LaSalle. Oh, this guy is going to UP. Or, oh, this guy is going to Ateneo. So, una sa lahat, since tag-UP kayong lahat, ano yung mga initial thoughts niyo? Because, let's be real, kayo yung pinakamaraming biyaya in terms of recruits, in terms of, star talent again. So, what are some of your initial reactions with all this star power coming at a very, very, basically the least time period you'd expect it to? Like, you'd think na, dahil pandemic tayo ngayon, recruitment and just even practices man lang, like, that's gonna take a step back. But if anything, sobrang na-amplify yung recruiting dito sa Pilipinas, or at least in the UAAP level. So, since nag-UAP kayong lahat, what are your thoughts with all these recruits going to one of the most prestigious schools in the Philippines?
First of all, please subscribe to Maroon Talk on YouTube and Spotify.
Yes.
You can see all the
Shameless
thoughts
plug.
there.
Yes.
You can see all, yeah, we've talked about it there, the recruits lalo. Kayo mag-usap, ayoko ano gano'n eh. Kayo, so, yeah.
Ako, meron ako nakita recently, I think kanina lang. Tweet, hindi ko maalala sino nag-tweet, pero nakita ko yung listahan, recruits naman ng Lasal.
Ito,
Oo,
ngayon lang,
nakita
parang
din.
ito lang.
Ito, mahaba siyang listahan din. Tapos naisip ko, bakit hindi ko nabalitaan to anytime? Kanina ko lang narinig. So, inisip ko, hindi naman siguro hindi lang UP yung busy sa recruitment. Pero yung UP community lang maingay talaga sa Twitter, social media. Kasi, alam mo yun, parang, wala eh. Ngayon lang namin ito natikman siguro kasi, first time UP was experiencing this success on the court and in recruitment. So, parang biglang naglabasan yung UP fans. Ganun. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with recruitment na maraming nakukuha yung UP. Pero I also want to temper expectations because baka akala natin marami yung UP pero hindi natin alam marami rin yung ibang schools. It's like season 82 UP Fighting Maroons na we were all saying, wow, grabe tong team na to, magka-champion to, magpa-finals to, sobrang stack nila, nandiyan si Kobe, nandiyan si Richie. Na, tama naman, they improved, but the other teams improved as well nung season 82. So, you know what happened there. Baka ganun din this time na, yeah, the spotlight is on UP again, but yung mga not in the spotlight schools, they may also have good, if not better, recruits. Hindi lang naririnig.
Ako, siguro parang yun yung hindi mo mamimiss na na nangyayari sa sports dito sa Pilipinas. Kasi kahit off season, ang daming mga lumalabas ng mga kanyang mga bombs. So, actually yun, medyo natuwa din ako kasi at least yung sports industry dito sa atin, hindi talaga siya natigil dahil dun sa mga off-season recruitments, gano'n. Pero yun nga, yung sinabi ni Enzo, ngayon ko lang din siya actually naisip na, yun nga, parang ang hina-highlight lang na nangyari yung sa UST bubble eh. So, hindi natin alam, baka yung ibang schools na, sabihin natin, yung UV, yung CEU, or kung anumang ibang schools dyan, meron din silang mga 5-star recruits na hindi natin alam. Tapos, na-amplify nga lang yung UP, UST, NU, Letran, yung mga ganyang schools. Kasi sa kanila pumupunta yung mga players na last season talagang nag-break out. So, yun lang, medyo nakaka-worry nga talaga siya. Kasi parang i-hype mo na naman yung UP. Sobrang tataasan mo yung expectations na papasok din yan sa sa parang psychological factor ng mga athletes mo eh. Kasi parang yung hype na binibigay mo sa kanila, ang parang nabibigay sa kanila pressure to the point na hindi na sila makapag-perform ng maayos, tapos i-criticize mo ng i-criticize. So, ayun lang.
For me, paano yun nga? Actually, sinabi na ni Pielo talaga na it could do good and it could do bad for the schools na sobrang highlighted ngayon with all the buzz going around sa collegiate sports. Diba? Yun nga, it could do bad, could do good. Pero, paano ba? Sa recruitment, actually, nakakagulat nga na, yun nga, ang daming nangyayari in these times, diba? Ang daming nangyayari in these times. But, it's a good thing din. Kasi parang, we know that sports still alive. Yung games, nag-stop. Pero yung the essence of sport na yung competitiveness, yung kailangan lagi tayong pambawi, yung school spirit na, oy, push natin UP, oy, UST is down, angat natin sila, parang ganun. Parang, it's still there. Kita mo yung kapit at support ng bawat school sa sa teams nila. So, which is good in these times na uplifting din yun, di ba? Paano ba? Pero, syempre, with the age of social media, napapasukan pa rin para siya ng politics eh. Ang dami ng umiikot na rumors, ang dami ng speculations na umiikot, daming galit sa ganito, daming support sa ganito, na hindi natin ma-confirm. And, fortunately, yun nga, the investigation is, tapos na ba? Still ongoing kung anong nangyayari, pero wala. Yun nga eh. Sabi ko nga kanina, everything is political, di ba? So, yun.
For me, if you're gonna think about it, when you think of Philippine sports, it's just 3 main sports in it. You have UAP basketball, you have UAP volleyball, and you have the PBA. If you're gonna look at football, andyan din yan. But then, it's more of a cult following for soccer here. Kasi, if you're gonna go and watch the games live, kita mo, walang manonood dyan. But then, if you go online, there's so much people talking about it. And that's the sad thing about it. I mean, you know that you have so much fans, but then again, when it comes to watching the games live, walang pupunta dyan. So, in a way, yung landscape ng sports right now, one way or another, you're gonna find out about the news, about player movements and all. Kasi yun nga, tatlo naman yung main sports talaga dito eh. Basketball, volleyball, and the PBA. So, yeah, I mean, even if it's like a pandemic, nothing's gonna stop people from recruiting to strengthen the team. Kasi nga, it all boils down to business, knowing that there are backers per school, per team. That's why it's still happening.
Tama.
All very valid points. And I guess for me naman on my end, it's kind of, well, of course, it's nakaka-excite because even though walang sports, the fact that you have these headlines every day, naiengganyo yung sports fan in the sense. But I think I've been looking through Humble Bola's articles and sobrang very in-depth sila, very solid yung mga write-ups nila. And to be honest, like, you can really see how much commodified yung mga players. It's like, with so many huge backers, with so many big-time corporations getting in these schools, parang nagiging assets na yung mga players. Like, it's totally sad that we quickly forget that these people, they're not even players first. They're people. They're human beings like you and me. They're student athletes with the emphasis of student bago athlete. So, I guess yung nakakalimutan ng mga backers is as much as sport finds a way to help these guys in the long run, like, we can't deny that. These guys are still human. These guys still deserve proper treatment, and these guys still deserve our love, which is why seeing a lot of, hate speech, seeing a lot of mean tweets towards these players, like, guys, pwede ba? Like, we're already going through a pandemic and you're gonna spew more hate like that. It's just totally unnecessary at this point. And it's okay, like, if you to feel bad that someone left your school, or it's okay if you didn't like what he or she might have done for your team or for your school. But at the end of the day, like, these are human beings. Their mental health is equally as important as our mental health, and it's really just all about respect. So, as much as there are petty wars like on Twitter and all, like, sobrang mahalaga pa rin yung pagkapwa-tao and just, showing love to one another, because at the end of the day, it's just a game, it's just a sport, and all the more right now that we're in such dire situations, we need to be united more than ever.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, that's what most people, hindi naman most, some people can't let go of right now. I mean, They worry so much about their personal interests, and they forget nga na those athletes are human beings as well. So that's sad.
Yan.
And also from a basketball perspective naman, like we have all these recruiting. It's pretty fun. Like, don't get me wrong, okay lang mag-excite and all with all this star power going to this school or that school. But coming from an Ateneo perspective, you still have to go through Anthony Tab Baldwin, guys.
Yeah,
Even if-
sabihin ko eh.
Even if we have the
Sabihin ko
least
eh.
talent, even if we're the least talented right now, like Coach Tab is just one of the best tactician. He's one of the best tacticians out there. And I really love like his way of approaching things. Like hindi siya yung tipong basketball genius lang. Like he really puts a premium on the student and the student athlete. And I was reading this piece like kahapon lang na he doesn't go necessarily for the most talented players. Like it's good to have, but he's really more for character development and how he can relate with his or her teammate. Kasi kung super stacked yung squad mo pero maraming ego issues here and there, to be honest, your team's not really gonna go anywhere. And that's why we had these beefs back in the day. So for Coach Tab, really, he puts a premium on being a student first and just fostering solid relationships both on and off the court.
Good luck to everyone.
Talaga.
So now that we've spilled our frustrations, our excitement with everything going on, even without the actual product being right there in front of us. As Phim mentioned kanina, his show, which you guys should follow by the way, Maroon Talk. I will link it I'll link it on the thumbnail or in the description below and on my posts on IG and FB. But just like in Maroon Talk, we're going to do a little flashback in here as well. So I'm sure you guys missed the thrill of watching sports, whether it's a watch party, whether it's on TV, whether it's, live. So regardless of league, whether it's the NBA or the UP, recall to me your best sports moment and your worst sports moment. It can be either as an athlete, because we have an athlete here, si Pielo Mello. So it can be whether you're an athlete or a fan. What are your best and what are your worst sporting moments?
Yeah, Toby, you.
Yel. Yeah,
Sige,
athlete ka eh.
Hindi naman ako athlete.
Athlete ka eh.
Pro yan eh, pro.
Oo.
Siguro yung best moment ko lang yung makapag-compete ulit sa organized basketball. Kasi parang hindi ko na siya nakita na gagawin ko for like 2 years. So parang 2018 yun talaga, parang nag-start talaga na makabalik ako. I got back in shape. Tapos may mga friends ako na sinalihan ko yung teams nila. So siguro yun yung highlight ko na best moment ko. Tapos yung worst moment, siguro noong 2013, nagkaroon ako ng grade 2 na ankle sprain. Nakita ni Toby yung paa ko noon, sobrang kulay violet, tapos sobrang bilog. Hindi ako makalakad ng 2 weeks.
Kailan yun?
2013, sem break
school?
yun.
High school?
Hindi, college na.
College na pala.
College na yun. College.
Tapos 2 weeks ako hindi nakalakad. Tapos 1 week parang pinagaling ko pa siya. Tapos nung week after na yun, pasok na kagad. So RA pa ako noon, tapos nag-enrollment. So kailangan maaga, commute MRT, ganun. Sobrang hirap. Tapos siguro yung best moment as a fan, siguro syempre yung season 81 ng UP. Yun yung pinaka-best kasi kasama ko si Toby simula 2011 hanggang 2017. Lahat ng games ng UP siguro mabibilang mo lang sa daliri yung panalo namin. So yung worst moment siguro wala.
Sige, I'll go next. Paano ba? best as an athlete.
Or kahit fan
Siguro-
lang. Like,
Hindi, sige. As an athlete din. Parang, nanalo ko ng ng parang gold medal sa San Beda ng grade school for football. Parang best football player sa San Beda.
Wah.
Tapos, so yun, going in, nag-transfer ako ng school sa Don Bosco. I was supposed to, to try out, syempre. Which, Don Bosco is a very good name for football players, di ba? Ewan ko hanggang ngayon. Pero, that time, parang, yun nga, I was supposed to try out. Tapos, injured ako, na ankle sprain ako while practicing my free kicks kasi may sinusubukan ako. Kasi nainggit ako dun sa isang pinapanood kong player. So yun, hindi ko pala siya kaya, na-injure yung ankle ko. So hindi ako nakapag-try out. So I had to, I missed first year high school football. Tapos, so I tried second year, pero parang hindi pa rin siya ganun kagaling. Kasi parang hindi na yung pa ako parang hindi na ma-maximize yung parang movement niya kasi parang yung tendons niya sobrang hindi na nag-grow. So yun. So doon ako nag-stop na talaga maglaro ng football halos. Yun yung worst. So tapos nung for best as a fan, yun nga, yung mga UP moments sobrang actually dami. Yung we watched the game versus Adamson, which we won a game after how many
27
seasons?
games.
Yeah, 27 games. Diba? So yun, we were there. Yung atin to shot, nandun din tayo, Piel.
Oh.
Yung first atin to shot. Then, yun nga, with Phim, yung Final Four na tinalo natin Adamson. Yan, yung best talaga. Worst? Worst? Siguro, as a fan, siguro yung ngayon, yung COVID. Kasi wala eh. Sobrang, di ba? Parang sobrang nahinto yung yung sports eh. Nagbago yung landscape niya eh. So parang, worst, pero, we're getting something from it naman eh. Ang dami natin natutunan. So, still a win. Kahit pa paano. Yeah.
Ako, best moment as a fan muna. Super Bowl 51.
Definitely.
Super Bowl 51.
Grabe.
Falcons talo, Patriots 34-28 overtime. Comeback win ng Patriots. Then, what made it special for me was may pasok ako noon. Monday yun eh. I had class, tapos I was planning to cut. Sabi ko, parang made up na yung mind ko, I will cut class on Monday to watch Super Bowl 51. Tapos, the Monday right before that, sabi ng prof namin, okay class, I won't meet you next week. Hindi natuwa ako kasi so hindi ako magka-cut kasi wala kaming pasok eh. Tapos, nanood ako ng game. Tapos tambak nga, di ba? Parang first half 21-0. Halftime 21-0. Tapos iniisip ko, I think I should just go to class or go to school and study because that's my duty as a law student. Pasok na ako. Gano'n na ako kasi talo na to eh. Tapos, ayun, bigla kumabol yung New England. Tapos, all of a sudden, one possession game na lang, 28-20. Tapos biglang nag-touchdown ulit. Tapos nag 2-point conversion. Tapos tie na. Oh my gosh. Tapos, yun na. Grabe talaga. Best Super Bowl na napanood ko ever. Best ring, siguro yun ni Tom Brady. Even if he says na his favorite ring is the next one. Napakayaman.
Tom Brady yun eh.
Oo. He says that, pero I think he's lying. I think that's his favorite kasi iba talaga. The odds were stacked against them. Wala eh. I can't think of any moment better than that. A comeback bigger than that at a stage as big as that. So that's my favorite moment as a sports fan.
Tsaka
As an
feeling,
athlete, sige, go.
yun yung nag-cement siya, sa kanya as the GOAT talaga eh. Kitang-kita
Oo,
mo na
diba?
siya yun eh. Siya talaga yun buong
Parang
third and fourth na yun. Siya yun.
Yung ano niya, composure niya, yung poise niya. Kalmado lang. Stick with the game plan. And then, that's what happened. Now, as an athlete, siguro yung grade school,
In
yung
drums.
hindi. Yung badminton, merong, ano pa to eh?
Varsity yan.
Ano?
Varsity yan, so, badminton.
Badminton.
Pala.
Basta isang, I think, dual meet yun against public school. Ginawa sa San Beda. Tapos, yung badminton ng old rules pa. Hindi pa siya yung basta
Yung
hindi pa siya rally point.
yung service over, mga ganun-ganun pa eh.
Oo, yung may ganun
First
pa.
serve, second serve.
Kumbaga, the only way you can score is if you serve. Ganun pa yung rules nun. So, itong finals to eh. Finals, third set. So, ito yung final set. Down kami ng partner ko, parang 11-0. 11-0.
Tayo.
Hanggang 15 lang, di ba? Noong time na yun, hanggang 15 lang. Tapos down kami 11-0. Hindi ko alam bakit. Sobrang pangit ng laro ko. Sobrang pangit ng laro namin. Tapos, biglang, ganun din. Ano din kami, comeback kids din. Tapos yun nga, it's hard kasi you have to have the ball to score. So imagine mo, ilang beses kami nakascore sa kalaban para makahabol ng ganun. Just to hold them 11. At one point, siyempre nakascore din sila. Final score parang 16-14 ata. Ganun. Anyway, nanalo kami. Ako yung winning shot doon. Tapos, yun. Sobrang saya ng comeback na yun.
Brady comeback din pala yun eh.
Parang talaga destined kami ni Tom Brady. Worst moment. Siguro the worst moment I can think of is when the Phoenix Suns were eliminated from the bubble. It wasn't their fault. Kasi, wala, ganun pala yun. Parang, ngayon ko lang na-experience yung naghahabol ka tapos hindi mo hawak yung destiny mo. Diba? Kasi ibang team tapos natalo sila by 1 point. Sobrang sakit. Kasi bad trip ako nung araw na yun. Yun lang. That's my worst moment. Apart from COVID, Jen.
Yep. On. Best moment as a player was when I faced Terence Romeo in the semifinals back in high school. We were the second seed, we were third seed. This was season 72. I was a senior in high school, senior kami ni Enzo. Then I only had one job, which was to defend Terence Romeo. Before the game, yung team manager namin was telling me, we were three people who were tasked to defend him that whole game. So he told us na if Terence scores 20 points, at least 20 points in this game, papakalbo kami. Kami tatlo. I mean, of course, he's Terence Romeo. How can you stop that guy? He's gonna get his point, so all I did was contain him. So he still got the 20, but then we won naman, and then we went to the finals. And pero the bet was called off kasi nga being in the finals was more important. And it was actually the best game I've ever played, even if my only task was to play defense. Despite that, I got to score still like 6 points, which was pretty much my career high in the UAP juniors. Then again, it was different kasi I had the whole FU crowd against me because I was defending the best player, and I just loved that thrill of it, being that enforcer to stop the best player on the other team. So yeah,
Thank you, Bruce Bowen.
Oh. DPOY.
Shane Barrier.
First team all defense.
Tony Allen pala.
Tony Allen. Yeah, I just stuck with him the whole game. I was like, like this.
Claps.
Clamps.
Respect.
The glove.
Good.
Hall of Fame clamps.
Aside from that, I mean, I can't really think of a worst moment nga. Just so I would go with this period as well. So I'll just go with another great moment as a fan when I watched Liverpool win that Champions League in 2019. I watched it in Poblacion. I was alone. I went there, but then of course there were other fans there, but I didn't know anyone. So that's one thing na you as a sports fan, that's one thing you'd appreciate. If you go to one venue without knowing anyone, then you're supporting for the same team. At the end of the day, you're still gonna get out there with friends. So me not having friends, I mean not knowing anyone before I went there. Then after that, I got like, it's like when I was talking to them, it's like we've known each other for years already, and us getting the win as well against Tottenham really said a lot. And yep, that was it.
Wow. Good stuff, guys. Ako naman, as a de facto athlete, because never naman ako nag-invest dyan, but I guess yung best moment ko, fourth year high school, intrams kami sa AHS, and I had a career high of 4 points. So that was literally my best moment.
Respect.
And it was very amazing kasi yung klase namin sobrang let's just say we were a very crazy bunch. Daming, asaran and all that, and usually ako yung butt of all jokes. So the fact that they were cheering me so loud, like they were the most hype when I would score a bucket and stuff like that. So it may not be a big deal, 4 points, but for me it was crazy kasi these guys respect the heck out of me pala. So that was very uplifting. Kahit hindi siya official sports league, it's just your school intrams. Like, yeah, I felt like I was literally one of the, not even the best, one of just the good players out there. So it felt good for 1 quarter, kahit 5 minutes lang yung playing time ko. Yung worst moment, honestly, wala akong maisip because I'm not really a dedicated athlete unlike some of you guys. But I guess it's hard. Kasi scoring 0 points, like that's nothing new to me. Like I'm just there lang for the experience. I'm not really a guy that focuses on stats. So I guess yung worst
intangibles.
moment... Yep.
Intangibles.
Yung worst moment ko is kapag di ako pinapalaro. Like, because, masyado ng stack yung team namin in high school and all that. So I guess yung mga bench warmer moments would be the worst. As a fan naman, and it's pretty obvious since I have my full Warriors gear, my best and worst moments all have to do with 2 numbers. 3-1 lead. So it's been 4 years, and even though my Warriors have won 3 rings, sobrang actually roller coaster because we've been both on the winning and losing end. So obviously yung best moment ko as a Warriors fan was coming back 3-1 against OKC, especially nung game 6 kasi kala namin, I guess it's not meant to be. I guess time na ni KD and Russ. Pero once Clay and Steph, went off in the fourth quarter, I was just so hyped. Sobrang sumisigaw ako sa TV, and it was funny because the Warriors, we were the most hated team, and I think up to now we still are the most hated team. And just seeing these guys, will my Warriors back, it was so thrilling. And kahit wala pang game 7 nung time niyan, you're just coming off one of the most thrilling wins for me, like as a personal fan. I kind of knew that game 7 was ours because momentum was on our way. Steph was back to being Steph, unanimous MVP and all. And that was just one of the most thrilling fan experience that I've had, as a Warriors fan. And obviously, you guys should know by now the worst moment was when we blew a 3-1 lead. Although, I'm sure some of you Warrior haters are gonna flame me right now. I still believe it's rigged. I'm sorry. Personal opinion ka lang. Bahala kayo whether you agree with me or not. But I really think kung hindi na-suspend si Draymond nung Game 5, and I think that's really on LeBron for that stunt right there he did in Game 4. I really think that would have been the best season ever for me. Pero yun nga, the silver lining, KD arrived and, you know, he did win a couple of rings after. But it still stings kasi for me, despite the KD years, I still feel like Steph is so disrespected by the media. Kasi wala siyang, you know, finals MVPs and all, even if he doesn't care about it. But, ayun, buti na rin na even though 3-1 happened on both ends, we still got KD. He gave us 2 championships. And even though we suck now, at least we were gifted, you know, the number 2 pick a couple of weeks ago. So, who knows, you know, the Warriors might be back next year. Kahit wala tayo ngayon sa bubble, doesn't really matter. So, those are just some of my moments. If you were to talk about Philippine moments naman, my best moment was 2017, Game 3, the dagger ni Isaac Go. That was really the best live experience because I was there sa Gen Ad, and to be honest, it was such a thrilling game. Anyone could have won, and I think LaSalle was like pegged as one of the favorites nung time na yun because they had Mbala, they had Richie and all that. So the fact that Isaac Go hit such a clutch shot, and I think that was on the heels of what he did a couple of games before when he hit another clutch shot nung Final Four against FEU. So that was, I think, the best stretch for me as an Ateneo fan, because this was post-5 beat, and you know, you really never knew about what Tab could do, what Coach Tab could do with these group of guys. But that really started our dynasty, quote unquote. And you know, that moment right there, it just pretty much solidified where Ateneo is right now. And I feel like even if wala na yung mga seniors, I think we're still in good hands so as long as Coach Tab is around. The worst moment for me as an Ateneo fan, 2015 Final Four, Mac Melo's game winner. I was there as well, and it was really heartbreaking because that was Kiefer's last game, and for him to go down like that, game winner, sobrang saklap. And I felt like we could have won that series had a couple of shots gone our way, or if we executed a little better. But you know, things happen for a reason. But yeah, those are just some of my favorite and non-favorite moments as an athlete, as a Warriors fan, and as an Ateneo alumnus. So before we wrap this up, simple lang to. Who's your favorite team? Who's your personal GOAT? And who's your personal GOAT? It doesn't have to be the best player per se, but just in your own opinion lang, sino yung pinaka-paborito niyong player? Who do you guys look up to the most? And who are your favorite teams? Na rin.
Kobe.
All LA ako eh. Paano ba?
Lake Show.
Lakers, Rams, Dodgers, sa football, Real Madrid, Arsenal.
Tama, LA Chargers.
Galaxy. LA Galaxy.
LA Galaxy. Pero yun, personal GOAT, I would have to say si Kobe talaga. Kasi
RIP
siya yung-
Kobe.
Kobe talaga kasi siya yung
Kobe
nagpa-start ng siya yung nagpa-start sa akin ng manood ng sports kasi si Daddy Laker fan din. Tapos kapangalan pa ng pangalan ko. So, yeah, Kobe. Tsaka yung Mamba mentality talaga. Yun.
Ako, favorite team, all-time, Lakers. Tapos, siguro, Real Madrid din ako. Manchester United.
Yak. Ay.
Sorry, Wayne Rooney kasi.
Ano ba yung mga team na yan?
Wayne Rooney kasi. Wayne Rooney. Ano pa ba? PSG.
Yan, suot mo.
Ayoko nito eh. Kasi nasa Germany ito eh. Guitar pa rin ako dun sa Brazil eh. Ano pa ba? GOAT ko. Well, Kobe talaga. Pero dati talaga si Jordan. Pero nung nakita ko yung impact ni Kobe sa hindi lang sa akin, pati sa younger generations. Tsaka sa lahat talaga. Kobe talaga. Tapos siguro yung nag-inspire sa akin, dalawa talaga siya eh. Eddie Jones, siya yung first NBA player na napanood ko. Eddie Jones.
Charlotte Hornets ba yan?
Lakers na siya nun eh. 97.
Bago
first,
pa mag-Miami.
Van
first,
Excel.
first NBA game na napanood ko. Tapos, Chauncey Billups.
Yes.
So, yun
Mr.
yung
Big
dalawang
Shot.
player na inspiration ko ng bata ako.
Di ba si Melo? Kasi Pielo Melo ko na, di ba?
Recently lang. Hindi, Kyrie na ako ngayon.
So,
Sa akin, favorite teams, obviously Phoenix Suns. Since 04 yan. Phoenix Suns, New England Patriots. Sa baseball, San Francisco Giants. Yun lang. Wala ko ibang alam na sport eh. Hindi ako aware sa soccer. So, siguro Ascals. Yan.
saka UPNFT.
Yeah.
Oh, UTMFT. Yan. Personal GOAT. Actually, mahirap to eh. Kasi, hindi ko alam eh. Siguro, sino ba? Gusto ko sabihin si Michael Jordan. Kasi, wala, nasa kanya lahat ng gugustuhin mo sa isang athlete. Yung drive to improve, to get better, yung competitiveness. Nasa kanya lahat talaga as an athlete. Pero gusto ko rin sabihin si Manny Pacquiao. Pre-2010. Pre-2010 Manny Pacquiao. When he was a pure boxer. Kasi
Ako din.
siya talaga yung para rags to riches na story. And hindi lang sa simpleng rags to riches. He changed boxing. Kasi wala eh. I mean, 8th Division World Champion ka. You made boxing exciting. Parang, alam mo yun, nabago mo yung standard ng mga casual boxing viewers na pagka nanood ng normal boxing match, mabobore na sila kasi nasanay sila sa Manny Pacquiao style. Talaga nabago na yung style ng boxing. So, yun. Kaso nangyari ngayon 2010 to today. Sayang eh. Pero kung hindi nangyari yun siya talaga. Yun. Yun ang mga favorite athletes ko.
Actually, ako to add. Parang same perspective ni Enzo. Isang GOAT talaga din na grabe, parang halos binago niya. Saka parang siya yung sinasabi ng lahat na in this sport, siya talaga yung GOAT. Parang undisputed. Si Efren Bataya Reyes.
Actually,
Grabe
sasabihin
yan.
ko din dapat.
Grabe
Sobrang
yan si
humble
Efren
din
Bataya
yan.
Reyes.
Yes.
And GOAT din yan. Go Phim.
Oy, siyempre, ito na naman. Defending champions, Liverpool. Hindi. Well, kasi, fan din naman ako ng mga Barca, Madrid, Bayern. Ayun. But then, so I'm a fan din of most football teams. But this is the team na I chose to support talaga. Then, if you see my cap, it's a Chicago Cubs cap. Since I have an affinity with Chicago. Since
Yung Cincinnati Reds.
Iba Indians.
Di ba yan Cavite Raiders?
You're supposed to move to Chicago when I was younger, so I got to like become a fan of Chicago teams. You had the Bears, you had the White Sox, and you had the Bulls. Then you had the Blackhawks as well. But for baseball, Anaheim Angels din. Kasi that was the only baseball game I watched when I was in the States. By 6-2, Anaheim Angels versus Seattle Mariners. Ichiro was playing. And we lost.
GOAT.
Yun. That was 2004, I think. Okay. So for my GOAT, I mean, lahat naman tayo GOAT si Kobe. But besides the fact na he plays golf, he's really a role model to many people. And I mean, siguro just the way he carries himself, the way he provides for his family and how he manages his businesses and all. I mean, it's just like really goals as a person, as a man, and as an athlete as well. I mean, kumbaga nung sumali siya ng PBA, parang papawis lang yan, you know. It's not something na he's really prioritized, knowing that he has so much other stuff going on the background, you know. So, I mean, for a person to do that much stuff excellently, I mean, it really says a lot about him, and those are the types of people that you really want to look up to. Yep.
Sorry, you kind of froze kanina. So, before it was Kobe, so who was this guy that you were referring to?
Ay, di mo narinig?
Yeah,
Narinig niyo ba?
parang na-face
I-
ko.
Okay, everyone heard. It was Chris Chu.
Ayun, Chris Chu, yes. Can agree.
Yep.
Mhm. Now, for me naman, it's pretty obvious. Favorite team. Yep, full-time Warriors fan. But I'm also a part-time suffering Knicks fan also. So,
Oh.
obviously, I'm also a fan of Melo and even the Insanity when it was happening. Pero ever since, wala eh. Sobrang bano yung Knicks namin ngayon. So, yeah, Warriors pa rin though. So, favorite team. They gave me excitement. They really lit up my TV screens every single day. Every single 73-9 win was pretty darn special, to say the least. Personal GOAT, in the words of Flight Reacts.
Look at Curry, man. Look at Steph Curry, man. Look at Curry. Oh my gosh. Look at Curry, man. Look at Curry, man. Look at Steph Curry, man. Bro, look at Curry again. Yes. Look at Curry, man. Look at Curry, man. Look at Curry, man. Look at Curry. Look at Curry, man. Oh, look at Curry. Oh, look at Curry. Look at Curry, man. Oh, look at Curry again. Everybody shut up. Look at Curry. Yes. Look at Curry again.
Look at Curry, man. So inspirational. Yup, so Steph Curry, undisputed GOAT, changed the game. So before you guys mentioned Logo Lillard or Trae Young or any other player that shoots a half-court shot, y'all better thank number 30 because he started that trend since way back when. So Steph Curry is my undisputed, and he is literally the guy that I look up to the most out of all these NBA players. But of course, we gotta pay respects to Kobe. Of course, it was pretty tragic what happened this year. And this is coming from a Kobe hater, by the way. Like, if you guys don't know, for my listeners, and I'm sure most of you are gonna flame me again, but I was one of Kobe's biggest, I was one of Kobe's biggest haters, biggest critics. Never liked his play style. Never liked his ego. Never liked his selfishness. But as he started growing older, as he started becoming more wise with his decisions on and off the court, I started to respect him a lot more, especially when he tore his Achilles and still went back up to shoot his free throws. That was truly mad respect. And what I like the most about Kobe is, unlike these old heads on TNT or just any other network that would just talk trash or just belittle current NBA stars now, Kobe, back when he was still here, he would give his props. He would give constructive criticism, of course, but he wouldn't be the type to belittle this guy's performance, this guy's star talent, star power. In fact, I totally remember the time when si Curry tumira siya in front of Kobe's face. Kobe slapped him in the butt. So that was truly a special moment for the two of them. So yeah, Steph is my GOAT, but of course we cannot forget about Kobe and what he did to my generation, because I grew up watching this guy, even if I hated him back then. For my local GOAT here in the Philippines, I have to agree with Phim, si Chris Chu. He was literally the face of Ateneo. Now, I'm sure all these other players that came after Chris Chu are way more talented. Like, you have the Ravenas, you have Kwame, you have SJ, sino pa? You have the Nieto Bros and all of that. You can agree, they're way more talented, way more buff, way more athletic. But Chris Chu, he just, every time you see Chris Chu in an Ateneo jersey, yung mga babae dyan, naghihiyawan na and all. So you can just see how much he impacted the Ateneo community. And that's why a lot of folks were so happy for him when he won his one and only championship in his final year in the U-Up. And I was only 5th grade by then, but it was a pretty special moment for us Ateneo fans and just alumni in general. So yeah, Chris Chu, definitely one of the most beloved figures in the Ateneo community. So with all that out of the way, that wraps up our show. So thank you to the 4 of you for being here. If anything, technically starting 5 na to like since we're 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for having us, Jake.
Yeah, thank you,
bro.
Thank you, man.
So I may be the youngest.
Jake.
I may be the youngest here, but it was truly a pleasure. It was an honor hosting some of the best, some of UP's finest right here. Regardless kung taga UPM kayo, taga UPD or UPLB, just the fact that you represented UP, not just here, but in all of your episodes on Maroon Talk, and even back in your day, whether it was your college years, your undergrad years, your MA years, in attorney Enzo's case, his law school years. You guys really did UP proud, and even if I'm not from there,
Thank you.
Thank you.
yeah, I really
Thank you,
just
thank
want
you.
to do my school proud as well. So, thank you for accepting this invite. But before we do go, do you guys have any last minute plugs? Besides Maroon Talk, of course, which y'all should subscribe to, by the way. Where can my followers see you? Whether it's on IG, Twitter, or wherever. So, this is now your chance. The floor is now yours to just spill in as much deets, as much plugs and accounts that you would like to share, so that my listeners would be able to check you guys out wherever.
Yeah, just please like Maroon Talk's Facebook page and subscribe to the YouTube channel. For Twitter, IG, it's Phim Moran for me. For the others, go ahead.
Enzo Musicero everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Yan, hanapin nyo lang ako.
Ako naman, Pielo Mellow,
Hello, hello.
Instagram, Twitter, tapos yung Agapel or Daniels na lang sa Facebook. Tsaka Nuggets in 7. Hindi ako Clippers hater, pero gusto ko manalo Nuggets.
Nuggets din, Nuggets.
MPJ, yo.
Bowl.
For me naman, Toby ang saka Tobyzel Foshizel.
Yeah.
Yep. So there you guys go. Those are their plugs. And yeah, as of this recording, hindi pa nangyayari yung Clippers and Nuggets. So by the time this episode comes out, we might have been right or we might have been stupid with our predictions. So sana the basketball gods. Hopefully the basketball gods can bless us up. Hopefully by the time this episode comes out, tama yung mga picks ninyo at yung picks natin, regardless of whichever team you root for.
I think everyone's like cheering for Denver aside from Toby here.
I'm for Denver. Denver ako.
Lakers pala, yung Clippers.
Lakers ako eh.
Denver, Miami to finals.
Yun din sabi ko eh. Denver, Miami din.
Okay, go ahead, Jake. Sorry.
Sorry.
Kaya, you know what? As a Warriors fan, sobrang mas impressive tong back-to-back 3-1 comebacks kung mangyari ito. Like,
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Definitely.
more impressive than, you know what. Sorry kung bitter pa rin, but it is what it is. As for me naman,
Ako, bitter pa rin ako sa Kings noong 2002.
Ay, nako. Kilala ko yan
Yeah, go ahead.
so those are their accounts, those are their plugs, and those are their predictions too. If you want to follow me naman on IG for the podcast account, it is at JOAT.pod.DELRO. So once again, it is at JOAT.pod.DelRo. If you want to check out my personal account, it is at Jake_DelRo. If you want to check me out on Twitter, it is at _Del_Ro_. If you want to check me out on Facebook, it is facebook.com/JOAT.pod.DelRo. So it's just like my Instagram. Or if you just want to search it on the search tab, it is JakeOfAllTradesWithDelRo. This podcast can be viewed, listened to, streamed, and televised on the following platforms. So we have Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Radio Public, Breaker, and on YouTube. So with that out of the way, that's a wrap, y'all. Thank you for tuning in today, mga Del Bros at Sisters at mga taga-U peeps out here. This has been your one and only Jake of all trades, and I am Delro. These are the Maroon Talk boys, and we're all signing out. Hanggang sa susunod na usapan at chikahan. See ya!
See you guys. Peace.
Yeah, thank you.
You.